Good evening, my friends. Another storytime adventure. So I assume that many of you would love a bedtime story before going off to that slumberland. I'm guessing it's the popular reason why you've enjoyed my company, my ways in bringing you to that slumberland. Somehow I've become quite the popular Sandman these days, a mother goose of fairy tales. More like the opposite, tales of reality instead of fantasy. But if I were to be honest, I prefer my services to be a one-way trip to Slumberland. I'll admit, it gives a pleasant feeling to know that in your dreams, I'm the one who's whispering in your ear. I'm so sorry for the stories I tell. It's just a little dark on my side. But no screaming tonight, my friends. Some people don't enjoy the screaming and sadness. Some rather cling on to their fairy tales and keep the horror at bay with the supernatural. Well, best put on my happy face. So, a bedtime story before Betty Bye. I do hope you brought yourself some midnight snacks. Maybe some carrots? Carrots? Carrots. A bedtime story, or bedtime stories. Multiple. For my spoiled, ever so demanding friends and these two adorable little children. Well, I suppose it does promise that somewhere in the title. We know how it's frowned upon when giving the kiddies false advertisement. So no harm with a couple yarns, some snacks, but after that, then it's lights out, and off to Slumberland. And with the ice cream man bringing these two children in bed, who's just so excited to hear the first of few tales to come. So what's the story numero uno? How about we start off with a favorite? Good night, you. Already I know some of you are excited for this one. In the small padded room, there was a tissue box, and a boy with a balloon, and a picture of a girl heating up a spoon. And there were 3 cruddy bears sitting on chairs, and 2 chopped up rabbits, and a red-stained hatchet, and a little toy house, and a giant louse, and a bottle, and a boat, and a suicide note, and a sick old lady whispering, "It's the one that I wrote." Good night, room. Good night, boy with a balloon. Good night, girl who's heating a spoon. Good night, louse, and good night, house. Good night to the rabbits chopped up with the hatchet, and the tissue box which speaks, and the bears in their seats. Good night, bottle. Good night, boat. Good night to the lady and her suicide note. But she was mistaken. That note I wrote. Good night, nobody. Good night, air. Good night to the things not really there. You're right. She was crazy. It's sad, really, how people these days go crazy. But of course, like all good kids, there is a curiosity of why people go crazy. So why? Why do people go crazy? Well, it's because their brains are all mushy and full of holes. Disgusting, I know, especially when you see it for yourself. And it's them holes, or voids, where the bugs, the roaches, and all the crawly things start making their way through. Still surprising how humans are so susceptible to bad ideas. Oh look, looks like Mother brought some tasty snacks. Carrots. If I didn't know any better, it kinda looks like the nasty caterpillars got inside her brain again. Did you know that Mommy was always sad? On the verge of crazy? You kids may not know it, but Mommy had many bad ideas rotting her brain away. Too many holes in that head. Look at her now. Happy. Now that's a smile that'll get you a nice spot on YouTube Rewind in no time. Now she doesn't have to hide in the kitchen when feeling so sad. The ice cream man noticing the tears on Mommy's face. Oh dear, Mommy's frowning again. We can't have this. Maybe we need to have Mommy go back in the kitchen and pour everyone a nice glass of milk. Milk for the kiddies. All good kids love milk. And ice cream. Now let's see. Story number 2. Two stories to read. Ah, ah, ah. How about an Ice Cream Man favorite this time? The Loving Tree. Yes, I know it's sad. Triple sad. But you know, everything is sad. All the time. Every day. Once there was a tree who loved a boy. And the tree watched as the boy grew up. But the boy was, shall we say, troubled. He loved to do things that he knew he shouldn't do. The boy smoked cigarettes. The boy hurt other boys. The boy experimented with drugs. The boy crashed his foster mother's car. The boy, for no real reason at all, lit things on fire. The tree watched all of this and loved the boy regardless. Until one day the boy poured kerosene onto the tree and took a match to its bark. And the tree asked, "Why are you doing this to me? I've loved you your entire life. I even looked the other way that one time when you reached your hand under Jenny Karad's blouse, despite the fact that she clearly didn't want you to." And the boy said, "I've got a hole in me. I can never fill. I'm going to do bad stuff all the time because I'm a broken person. I'll probably die before I turn 50, is my guess." And the tree burned down to nothing. And since that tree was on a piece of land outside the jurisdiction of certain preservation laws, a developer paid the forest and sold a plot to one of those overbright big box stores. And the boy was right. He died in his 40s in some kind of accident on the factory floor where he worked. The specifics don't really matter. The hole in the boy was never filled. The tree was long gone. And many more trees would soon follow. Listen close, and you can hear another one being chopped down, screaming, "But I loved you. I loved you." See, my friends? That wasn't so bad. That's why the world needs more stores, so we can buy stuff, and buying stuff helps us pretend that we don't have any holes in our head. But I think the Ice Cream Man needs to run downstairs and check on Mommy real quick, seeing how those glasses of milk are coming along. And when the Ice Cream Man comes back, we'll read the final story before nighty-night. And with the Ice Cream Man going down the stairs, whistling his favorite tune, I think it's called Rock All the Time. Oh, that guy there in the living room is Gary. Don't mind him. And the Ice Cream Man checking on his honey bear. Oh my. With all these dishes broken, food and water spilt everywhere, the blood, it seems like Mommy kind of made a mess in the kitchen. Oh, Mommy, why are we crying over spilt milk? You have to relax. Be positive. You know how people hate seeing you look sad. Humans find it depressing when they see tears. They don't like seeing people looking depressed. Kind of reminds them that they have holes in their heads. Mommy is kind of ruining everything, which is why she needs to work harder on that happy face. Why can't Mommy be as good as that Susan Wojcicki something woman? The kids know that the Ice Cream Man isn't really their dad. They know that their dad's name is Gary, something about the smiling man that makes their heads feel fuzzy and weird when he's in the room. The kids know these stories, except they're different. Their mother is different. Everything in this room feels different. Everything feels wrong. And the little girl grabbing a book from the shelf, titled Weed Laced with Coke, like the soda? The little girl ignoring her brother's pleas to not read it, ignoring the conscience in the back of her head. That Grimaloke, I do not like that Grimaloke. Would you smoke weed laced with Coke? I would not smoke weed laced with Coke. Would you smoke it up or down? I would not smoke it up or down. I would not smoke it then or now. I do not want weed laced with coke. I do not want it, Grimaloke. Would you smoke it in The Hague? Would you smoke it during a plague? I would not smoke it in The Hague. I would not smoke it during a plague. I would not smoke it up or down. I would not smoke it then or now. I do not want weed laced with coke. I do not want it, Grimaloke. Would you smoke it in the cog? Would you smoke it with a mad dog? Not in a cog, not with a mad dog, not in The Hague, not during the plague. I will not smoke it up or down. I will not smoke it then or now. I will not smoke weed laced with coke. I do not want to, Grimaloke. Would you, could you, on the hood? Smoke it, do it. You'll feel good. I will not, won't not, on the hood. You might like it, take a puff. You might enjoy it, off a bluff. I would not, could not, off a bluff. Not in the hood, it's dangerous stuff. I will not smoke it in the cog. I will not smoke it with a mad dog. I will not smoke it in The Hague. I will not smoke it during a plague. I will not smoke it up or down. I will not smoke it then or now. I will not smoke weed laced with coke. Ain't gonna happen, Grimaloke. Would you, could you, as we jump? I could not, shall not, as we jump. In no way with a figgly bump. I will not smoke it in The Hague. I ain't inhaling it while there's a plague. Not in a cog, not with a mad dog, not on the hood. You near-do-good. I will not smoke it up or down. I will not smoke it then or now. I will not smoke it while we drown. You don't wanna, so you say. Just try it, man, and you may. Smoke it, and you may, I say. Gremlin, if you will let me be, I'll smoke the thing. You will see. Wow! I like weed laced with coke. I do, I like it, Grimaloke. And I would smoke it in a sepulcher. And I would smoke it with a vulture. And he smokes it for the rest of his life. Like Jimbo. So while the ice cream man, I meant Daddy, went downstairs to check on Mommy, the kids decided to sneak in an extra story and read it without their father. Not only were we having problems with Mother downstairs, making people feel uneasy with that frowning face, but the children had to go off and read a story that's kind of frowned upon in a world full of sad people who will cling on to whatever excuse they can find to see something destroyed. People are not going to be happy about this, making it hard for silly humans to enjoy ice cream. They might cancel his delicious treats so that they can feel better. And seeing the fear within the children, a dreading horror of what's yet to come. Aww, how can you get mad at two adorable little skeletons with meat on them? I bet it slides off the bones easily. How about one more story for the road, to lighten the mood. This story is called Little Jane. Little Jane was very plain and lived a life of plenty. She married Gary, who now looks scary, back when they both were 20. But life, you know, is long and strange, and full of small frustrations. The world gets warped, mixed up, deranged, despite your lamentations. Now little Jane, she took great pains to flee her charming captor. She waved at all the small town cars, but whoosh, they whizzed right past her. And then poor Jane, dead near insane, hot head and heart aflutter, approached a cow, a burger now, and asked, "Are you my mother?" And that, my friends, is where it ends. The screws were put upon her as she canonized her favorite guys, St. Manson, Gacy, Donner. So little Jane, her arms restrained, was hauled off in the wagon. Little Jane, her brains was mush, full of holes. Till this day, nobody knows why she did it. A loving wife who killed her husband and two adorable children. They said that Jane wasn't happy. She was sad for many reasons. That her mind had too many holes in it. Finances, marriage, failing as a parent, her job, etc., etc., etc. Just a matter of time before that happy face on Mommy started to crack, and reveal the horror we so desperately flee from and enjoy watching on some Netflix documentary. What silly humans do to fill in those holes, them voids. Drugs, violence, destruction, sex, canceling culture, bedtime stories. Who knows why that happens? One of these days, that happy face won't be enough for you. And like Jane, or that mother who killed her 3 children, and that father named Richard, just a matter of time. Just a matter of time. So be sure to put on a happy face, so humans don't feel like you're ruining their precious health thinking and going to bed screaming at night. Nighty-night, my friends. Don't let the bedbugs bite.
All men dream, but not equally. Those who dream by night in the dusty recesses of their minds wake in the day to find that it was vanity. But the dreamers of the day are dangerous men, for they may act their dream with open eyes to make it possible. This